Hey guys, I just wanted to give some help or guidance to a couple questions that a few teachers have had. I had a group of teachers, of resource teachers, who needed a few things to do. Uh, the task they were given is they came up with things that are going well in our area, and there's a lot of really good stuff. We're doing an awesome job, and it sounds like we're taking teaching tech teaching with technology by the horns, and we're doing really well. Some things, some concerns, or things that we can work on are listed here, and I just wanted to touch on a few of them. So, well, I'll probably touch on all of them really briefly. I'm not going to go too long because I want this to be a quick video. So, Canvas is a joke, according to Bridger, and I would agree probably for the most part. Now, just remember that all you have to do is just put your name, like a bio, a picture of yourself, and then you just publish it. That's all you have to do. You're not expected to do anything more than that. But remember, if you're really worried about Canvas or it's stressing you out, Canvas is supplemental, meaning you don't have to do it, or it doesn't make or break a missionary's experience. It's just there to help. So don't panic about Canvas. Okay, this next one. Most teachers are still pretty uncomfortable with the new curriculum outlines like TRC accountability, online etiquette, review assignments. I am happy that I'm having a hard time speaking. I am happy to meet with some of you, and we can go through these outlines together, and I can give you a better idea of what they're supposed to look like. But again, these activities are probably like the least of my concerns. I highly doubt a missionary is going to review their MTC experience in 3 years and say, oh man, that activity, online etiquette, changed my life. So, I mean, although these are important, they're not nearly as important as what we've normally been doing and what we've been good at doing when we were physically at the MTC. So don't stress about these. And if you find yourself just trying to fill time, then fill time with other things that you feel are more important, like maybe daily planning or a Book of Mormon read, or sharing an experience from your mission, or having you know, I don't know, whatever. Like what I'm getting at is don't stress about these activities. But again, I'm happy to assist in these activities because they can be helpful. Okay, the next one, I think we can set better expectations of what it looks like to be a missionary in class. So, for example, um, or the example that was given, it's hard to focus when missionaries are eating or doing other activities like communicating with other missionaries. So this needs to be brought up early and often with the missionaries. And if you see an elder or a sister eating and it's distracting, and I do think this is something we should just do, and I would expect the same from us. And, I honestly had the same expectation with training meeting. Some of us have been eating and drinking a lot, and it's just distracting. And I mean, you wouldn't do that in a typical meeting or in a typical class. So I think it's reasonable for us to expect the same thing. Now I will say that follow the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law on this. So for example, let's say a missionary is on the East Coast and dinner their family eats, they only have 45 minutes between shifts or their classes. The mom was just running a little late because she had a hectic day with work. And so she brought in her daughter, the sister missionary, some dinner. Now, all I might do is just send her a chat and say, hey, while you're eating, do you mind just not having your video on, but keep your audio on for 10 or 15 minutes while you eat? I might just say something like that, but don't hesitate to just say, hey, please don't do that. Or if they ignore you, have a one-on-one with them and just say, hey, like, I'm trying to meet you halfway, like, this is like a two-way street. Can you help me out? I think sometimes we're afraid of those conversations and we shouldn't be. Uh, so that's my thought. Again, these are just my thoughts. I'm not saying these are hard cut rules necessarily. Okay, the next one, missionaries think that a lot of the missionary standards are optional since they aren't actually in class. This is something we should clarify with the missionaries. As you heard from Kelly Mills last week, they're expected to live the missionary standards in the handbook. So I would maybe, if I were you, I'd brush up what's in the handbook and hold those missionaries to that standard. So for example, they should be waking up at 6:30. They should be exercising every day. Their dress and grooming should be good. The way they speak should be polished. Uh, they should, according to Kelly Mills, they should be not watching movies with their families and things like that. Now, again, spirit of the law over the letter of the law. Don't get caught up too much in this and don't be the police. But, you know, just remember this pandemic isn't the easiest situation for everyone. Some missionaries just happen to, like, their computer is just in the room where their family's watching TV. Or, we don't want them to go mentally nuts because they're all by themselves in a room all day. So be understanding, but also have high expectations that they're now a missionary. They're all supposed to be set apart, so they should be acting like missionaries. That's the expectation. If you have more clarification questions with this, please let me know. Okay, the next one. It's hard to gauge where missionaries are at, like struggling with teaching, emotional well-being, since we're not with them. So, keep doing your one-on-ones. Be more of a listener than a talker when you do the one-on-ones. And, if they're really struggling, you can counsel with me on what we can do to help them. The counselors are willing to help them out. The meeting on Friday, so tomorrow with Rob, where he's going over adjusting to missionary life, he's actually going to be talking about this a little bit more. So these one-on-ones are huge. And then lastly, learning how to help them plan has been more difficult for their virtual MTC experience than it was in the actual MTC. Totally. If I were you, I would be having the missionaries share with me, whether it was they share their screen or they send you an email, whatever it might be, with their plans. And you don't have to necessarily do this every day, I don't think, but I would maybe do it 2 or 3 times a week where I say, hey, can you send me your plans for tomorrow? Or can you show me your plans for today? I just want to see what you're doing with your time outside of class. And I want to see if I can give you maybe some suggestions or tips on how you can maybe use your time more effectively. I don't think that that's unreasonable. That's a perfect activity or something you could do to fill time with some of these activities that maybe we're not as confident in, like up here. I would say, hey, let's talk about what we're doing outside of class to use our time effectively. Let's counsel as a district. What are some things that you guys are finding that are good? And what are some things you guys are finding that are a little harder to avoid? Such as, watching TV or scrolling through social media a ton or whatever they can come up with. But they should be using their time effectively. We should be expecting that from them. And I don't think it's unreasonable for us to say, hey, just show me your plans for the day. And then you can mentor them through how to maybe be a little better. We don't teach it nearly as often as we did physically in the MTC, but that doesn't mean it lacks importance. So those are just some of my thoughts. I thought these were really good concerns that were brought up by this team of teachers on this document. You're doing a really good job overall, everyone. And be patient as we're trying to be creative with less missionaries. But at the same time, just be grateful that we all have a job. I feel very blessed. I've met several people this week who have lost their jobs. Because there's a guy who lives just up the street from me who lost his job. And he has 7 kids. Can't even imagine. So we're very blessed, and this will be fun. This will be a good time. Please come to me with your questions if you have them. And I appreciate what you're doing. Thanks, guys.